Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to our Day 6 programming here at the 2018 Twin Cities Film Fest, hosted by the Shops at West End and the beautiful Showplace Icon Theater. We get to have a very, very special guest with us up here on our Skin Rejuvenation Clinic sponsored red carpet. I'm lucky enough to get to be your host and speak with Senator Tina Smith. Senator Smith, thank you so much. You're getting a round of applause, very well deserved. And what we are offering up as part of our Day 6 programming here early in the evening is a special sponsor screening from Studio 120 of Change the Outcome, which is bringing attention to much needed attention and shedding light on a very serious issue that is affecting the entire United States, our Midwest, and unfortunately Minnesota as well. This is a very prescient issue with you, and you've been nice enough to stop and talk with us. Talk to us about the rising epidemic of the opioid addiction, and you put it on your mantle to address this issue. Talk to us about that, if you would.
My eyes were open to this. It was the fall of 2015, and I was in Montevideo, Minnesota for the Governor's Pheasant opener, actually. And I had a chance to go to the coffee shop and meet with this mom, Shelley Elkington, who told me about her daughter, who was a high school athlete, and developed a very debilitating disease and became addicted to prescription opioids. And then that began the path that ultimately led to her death. And I was so just overwhelmed by the impact that this disease has on communities all over Minnesota, on families all over Minnesota, and went immediately to work to figure out what we can do about it. Shelley Elkington was talking about how important it was that we get more resources into treatment and recovery. But she was also saying what I know everyone here understands, which is that we first need to think about this. This is a public health issue. It is a disease. It is not a weakness of anybody's spirit, and it's not a criminal justice issue. It is a disease. And so the work that I've been doing as Lieutenant Governor and now as Senator is all about getting the resources to help families and people recover.
Can a film like this bring awareness to the issue, and can that coattail along with your efforts to expand the attention to this issue? Absolutely,
because this film will help, I think, overcome the stigma that still exists when it comes to addressing issues of substance abuse disorder and also mental health issues. That stigma stops people from getting the help that they need early, and the earlier people get treatment, the better off they're going to be. The other thing I think that this movie does, which is so important, is it reminds us that there is hope, that there is a path to recovery, and even though it is difficult, that path exists, and we need to figure out how more people can take it.
If I may, I mentioned this a second ago, but how serious of an issue, the story that you mentioned is such a telling reminder, but how serious is this issue in Minnesota?
More people, especially young people, are dying from substance abuse disorders and opioid addiction than die in car accidents. More people are dying than people lost their lives at the height of the AIDS epidemic. It is a massive public health crisis and epidemic all over our country.
Awareness of that is so important. This film can help that.
Absolutely. Awareness, understanding of what this is about, that there should be no stigma attached to substance abuse and opioid addiction, and that there is hope, and that you can get treatment and you can get better.
How can we shore up more resources to your aim?
Well, if we were to put the amount of resources into treating the opioid epidemic that we put into fighting the AIDS epidemic, we would be seeing massive amounts of dollars, and that is what we really need. Now, just in the last several months, the Senate and the House and Congress passed a big support package to expand treatment and recovery and emergency response. So, for example, helping to make sure that there is more naloxone, which can do an emergency treatment if you're overdosing, and expanding support for local solutions for treatment and recovery, which we have some great examples in Minnesota, but unfortunately they're not able to get to the scale that we need. So there is action being taken in Congress, and I'm expecting that bill that I just described to be signed into law in the coming days. And I'm also really happy that some of the proposals that I worked on, including expanding mental health care into schools, is included in that package and will be signed into law.
I was just going to ask if you would be so gracious to talk about your efforts because of your passion for this and what strides you yourself have brought to this issue, which you just did. Thank you so much. We got to speak to our senator today in front of Change the Outcome. We're going to screen this very important film. We have an entirely full galley in support of Senator Smith and of the film. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to have more coverage here in our Day 6 programming. We will be back. Thank you.